Welcome back. In the previous part, we did go off to... Where did we go off to? We went off to the boathouse, didn't we? Just that sort of thing I've just forgot completely. We went off to the boathouse, took out a cryptid, and then did some fishing around the place and took out 2 of the Elite 4. But let's get back to the rounds now with Mines Mining Village. I should maybe check the doll studio though. Based on everything that's happened, it might be worthwhile. Let's go up first. So, independence came up at that trade conference, eh? That new mayor of ours has got some interesting ideas. I like that kind of moxie. It's about time we stopped rolling over for the Empire and the Republic. Independence sounds good to me. Us Crossbellans need to have more pride from now on. You punch bag, I have that already, don't I? I don't get what this independent stuff is all about. But Daddy says it's a good thing, and Daddy's always right. I won't be so blind, but you are a child, so... you can be fallible. You can be fallible. Independence sounds good. But you need some way to defend yourself, that's the issue. If only you could just put a bubble around yourself and protect yourself from outsiders. I have no motivation to do anything. Luca probably hates me now. Didn't even want to show my face at the bar. I'll just go straight home after work. I can't concentrate at all. Oh, I know that feeling, mate. I was taking a break outside earlier when Chief Hoffman's son came up to talk to me. "Is being a miner fun?" he asked. I answered honestly and told him it's a pain in the butt. It's not the first time he's bugged me about it either. I've made him depressed twice now. I always open my mouth without thinking. I should have said something more positive. Looks like Chief Hoffman's son is aiming to become a miner someday. Maybe I should have been more optimistic with him. Maybe. Marlowe hasn't been able to focus on work at all today. He even turned down an invitation to go drinking. What's gotten into him? Gant should be back from his break by now. Everyone's been slacking off today. My life's been on edge lately because of those large, mysterious monsters. I'm used to monsters appearing in the mine, so I doubt we have anything to worry about. That said, I got injured by a warhound a while back, so I guess I shouldn't talk. Just keep an eye out for normal monsters. I don't want to do anything that would make my wife cry again. Oh, well, that's nice. Keep inspecting those pipes, though. Since my husband is the mine chief, Alex decided he wants to be a miner too. Frankly, I'm against it. However, as a parent, I also want my child to be happy. At the very least, I need to keep him safe until he's old enough to make his own decisions. Frankly, I'm against it. Yep, we know that. Wait, was that different though? I think it was just a combination that. Frankly, I'm against it, but if he's serious, I'll have to keep an eye on that in the future. Alright. Here I am again. The mines, mountains. Last time I came here, I realized just how foolish what I was attempting was. Le Mans State is so much further than I realized. I'll train my legs for years if that's what it takes to make it there on foot. I promise you, Le Mans. I'll find out where you are on the map someday and I'll walk there. It's the last thing I do. Teehee. Wait, thank you to Tio getting in the way. Teehee. With that little promise out the way, I should finally be going home. I'm finally going to see my best friend for the first time in ages. The other day, some bracers came by to take out a monster in the northern mountains. They got it, but said there was something strange about it. They weren't familiar with it at all. I've heard about monsters like that recently. I wonder where they're coming from. Imagine screwing up and fighting mysterious monsters for a living. Aren't bracers just the coolest? Lately I've been getting the impression that Marlowe thinks Luca hates him. Hasn't been coming to the bar and he isn't trying hard at work. Luca doesn't catch on, this could become a tricky situation. On the upside, Gans has been showing off his good side and went to talk to her on behalf of Marlowe. Fortunately, Luca can be a tough nut to crack. He's got his work cut out for him. I'm counting on you, Luca. You gotta tell him just like that. Gans, why do I, specifically, need to be the one to cheer up Marlowe? Like I said earlier, I'm sure his recent funk has nothing to do with me. I wouldn't be so sure. I'd say that it has a lot to do with you. I'm still not following. I'll tell you what. I'd be much more willing to do it if you paid off your mountain of a tab, Gans. Wait, that's a different matter entirely. I hope Luca can at least cheer up Marlowe. Need to persuade her somehow. Ugh, didn't expect that to appear. Let's see, I wanted to check that, but it's sort of like I just wanted to be sure because it was sort of like that's a plaque thing. I can't remember it being there before, but I'll check it. I remember the cook, but not around. Okay, Calvard spy. They always get in your way. They always get in your way. And remember, Liberlians do not spy. Oh. A monster appeared in the mountains north of here. They said it looks similar to the one that appeared in the deserted mine a while back. I wonder if it really was the same one. The monster found in the mountains up north was supposed to be similar looking to the one that appeared in the deserted mine. It really was the same one. I didn't think I'd live to see the day Crossbell's leadership would propose state independence. Erebonia and Calvard had always fought over the septium resources we produce, so we need to consider that factor as well. Each citizen of mines needs to come to their own conclusion on the matter. The same goes for me. I'll be mulling Crossbell's future over in my head until the day of the referendum. Crossbell pays out 10% of its taxes to the Empire and the Republic. For a burgeoning economy like Crossbell, 10% is a staggering amount. Our tax agreement perfectly encapsulates Crossbell's relationship with the two major powers. Yes, it does. Taking advantage of you, essentially. I heard Loggy has stopped skipping out on work. He says he still hates going in, but I don't know. The look in his face says he's having fun to me. I'll become a great miner who loves his job someday. Well, I hope you do. If you're going to enjoy it and do it safe and all that type of stuff, then cool. All good luck to you, mate. Just imagine Crossbell being an independent state. After all these years, it sounds like a fantasy. Never thought I'd live to see the day where it's even possible. If I cannot imagine that Erebonia and Calvard will ever allow it. Our independence could serve to fuel the flames of a new conflict. Erebonia and Calvard would never stay their tongues in the face of Crossbell declaring independence. Our independence could serve to fuel the flames of a new conflict. Sort of, yes, no, maybe, we'll see. I heard a large monster was sighted in the mountains nearby. I worry something like that could appear in the mine too. The miners aren't equipped to deal with beasts like that. But that was just the same again, but on one big box rather than two smaller ones. Right, so let's head off to America Village now. I was going to say, do I need to rest? Like, no, don't. Because it's like, will there be anything going on down here? Maybe something at the Doll Studio I might have a look at some point. But Ancient Battlefield... That's what it says at that point, off around it. That's why I said it there. Oh, look who's here. But it is very much like, no, so that's America we're going to. If you're looking for Elkin, he's making a produce delivery to the city. He's been in such a good mood lately. He'll look for any excuse to take a drive. Well, he did get that truck as a bargain, so I can understand why he's so happy. I think he'll be back for a while. Such nice, relaxing, peaceful music. Mum spanked Camille the other day. His butt was as red as an apple. There's something up with that foreign guy. He acts nice and he has a big smile on his face, but his eyes don't look very nice. Foreign guy? Foreign guy. Foreign guy who's been coming to the village gave me candy. I thought he'd yell at us for getting his clothes dirty, but he didn't. I'm glad nice people like him exist. Foreign guy. We got that foreign guy's clothes dirty, but he didn't get mad. He gave us candy instead. I'm still spanking though. Oh dear. I recently met a man with a lot of promise. May even be as good as Harold. He's been doing a lot for our village. Has he now? There's been a guy in the village lately that's dressed to the nines. Told Gramps that I was such a capable lad. Of course, Gramps was thrilled. I know he was just flattering me though. Gramps looked really happy when I got complimented. I know he was just flattering me though. Honestly can't remember if I got that, so it's like just being sure. Just can't remember. Don't think so. Can you get in the door? That foreigner who's been coming by is quite the cheerful fella. He's always smiling. Something about him makes me feel at ease. Okay. I wonder what I should make today. Some scones. Sorry, scones. Foreign guy. A nice man has been hanging around here lately. I hear he's from a famous foreign company, but I've never heard him brag about it. It's nice to know there are still good men in the world. I hear he's from a famous foreign company, but he never brags about it. It's nice to know some men can still be humble. Apparently that foreigner's quite the worldly guy. Immediately sensed my love for Seeley and cheered me on. What a great guy. What a great guy. What a guy. I borrowed Paranormal Crossbell collection from the library. The story of the man searching for his lost head is chilling. Oh yeah, that one's spooky. But if you don't have a head, how can you possibly cry out to that head that you're missing? No, it's not scary anymore. I was so into the scary and then Gotham went and ruined it. I've got to teach him how to properly appreciate a ghost story. I hope Derek will be able to return home soon. I'd like for him to be able to make up with Chief Tolter. Foreign guy, though. And that does it for the sheets. Before I had Stefan, I thought about being a maid at a hotel. Helping out here at the inn is a lot of fun. Stefan has become fast friends with the other kids in the village too. Every day in America is wonderful. Ding, 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 ding. Foreign guy. Like, my mind keeps going to lecture, but it's like, I don't think so. He's the kind of person who'd be like very charming and all that type of stuff, and then would be like, you what? What are you doing here? It's like, it can't be. Can't be. So who else could it be? Just what does my fool of a son think he's doing? I'm concerned as well. I think there's a possibility he's been... Hello, Chief Dollar. It's the Special Support Section. Oh, and Mr. Heiyue is here too. I like how we gathered around the table. And it's like, oh, look who's here. It's like, yeah, we're the ones who barged in. There you all are. I've been waiting. You must have seen the request. Thank you for coming. Sure. Why are you here, Mr. Heiyue? As it so happens, he's got a connection to this problem as well. Chief Todd and I were speaking, and we decided it would be prudent of us to consult the SSS on this. Considering the circumstances, we thought the situation called for a professional investigation. If that's the case, this must be a serious issue. I believe the description mentioned this had to do with your son, correct? Yes, it's a very complicated matter. If you have time to do the request, I can brief you on all the details. Is now a good time? I mean... yeah. Now works for us. Tell us everything you need to. Thanks, SSS. I'm in your debt again. My son Derek has been acting strange recently. I get the feeling he's got some detestable plan in the works. Detestable? Isn't that a little overdramatic? I don't know the details yet, but I've got a decent idea of what he may be thinking. Apparently Derek told Harold that America would no longer be doing business with him. What? But why? Really? Why would he do that? Haven't you always been on excellent terms with the village, Mr. Hayworth? Yes. I've done my best to be kind to the people here since we started doing business. I came to see Chief Tolter today because I was afraid there was some kind of misunderstanding. And let me guess, the chief here was just as out of the loop as you were. Am I right? Yes, you are. Never intended to wrong Mr. Hayworth like this. Losing a customer such as him would be a horrible loss for our village. I'm sure my son is fully aware of that as well. This is certainly strange. What reason could Derek have to go over your head and make a decision like that so rashly? That's what Harold and I have been discussing. In doing so, a certain suspicious person came to mind. Derek has been meeting with a foreigner recently. Foreigner? We don't know much about him right now. All we know is that he and Derek have been talking in secret. Nothing so suspicious quite like secret meetings. So my request to you is to investigate this foreigner for us. Yes, of course. If he is plotting some sort of nefarious scheme, we need to put a stop to it immediately. Apologize if this comes off as rude, but is something like this really worth making a support request out of? Surely the logical approach would be to simply speak with your son yourself. Don't think that's all cold, Teotot. I'm embarrassed to say so, but the young lady is correct. He and I have been at odds on how best to run the village for a long time. If I try to talk to him myself, I'll just end up arguing about it again. As his father, it pains me to admit that. No wonder you decided to consult us. I understand the circumstances now. We'll begin investigating immediately. We'll start by interviewing each of the villagers. Feel free to do so. Derek and Elkin are delivering produce to the city right now. You may be better off speaking with them last. Best of luck, SSS. Hope you can get to the bottom of this. We'll do everything we can, Mr. Hayworth. Okay, so who do we speak to? Doesn't matter how I rationalize it, Derek's secret meetings with that foreigner are exceedingly suspicious. It does turn out to be nefarious. We have to put a stop to it at once. Best of luck with your investigation. Like, where was there mention of the foreigner? I met with Derek many times on business for the village. He's a polite and thoughtful young man. He's gotten wrapped up in something unsavory. I want to help him. Please look into it, SSS. Hope you can get to the bottom of this. So do I. Derek hardly ever comes home anymore. I hope he hasn't got mixed up in some dangerous business. Okay, now I'm just trying to remember like where we had mentioned the foreigner. Definitely in the shops and the inn. Although the kids did as well, so... Excuse me, I have a few questions for you. Lloyd asked about the foreigner, who's been recently visiting America Village. Oh, that guy has been here off and on. Well, he's very polite and pleasant to be around. Polite, huh? I see. And do you happen to know this man's name? Let's see, I believe it was Minnith. Okay, or at least that's what he signed the guest registry as. Minnith. At least we have a name to work with now. Is there anything else you can tell us about this individual? Well, he wasn't too chatty, so there's not much to tell. He's called Derek up to his room a couple of times. I think they've been talking about something. That's about all I can tell you. That sounds like what Chief Tolter has been concerned about. Yeah, it's good to have that confirmed at least. Thank you for your help. Not a problem, I'm glad to be of service. While you're here, why don't you order some food while you're at it? This Minnith guy has been around a lot recently, but I haven't had a chance to speak with him much. Been meeting with Derek, though. I wonder what they're talking about. That's gonna be the same. Alright, so imagine you're all the same then. So, about the kids. Oh, okay. So that's still the same. Don't think you mentioned anything, did you? Definitely was in here with something going on. Excuse me, I have a few questions for you. Lloyd asked about the foreigner who's been recently visiting America Village. Oh, him! Guy's got a keen eye, that's for sure. What do you mean by that? He's become infatuated with our honey. He's been saying, this'll be a hit! Be able to sell this across the entire continent. Sell it across the continent? What is he, a trader or something? I've never heard him outright say it, but that seems likely. With discerning tastes like that, I'm sure he's already made a name for himself. I'd be thrilled if my grandson were to follow his example. Is that so? That the dude is some kind of merchant, eh? That's good to know. Thank you for your help. Not a problem. You can talk to me anytime. This fella I met has also taken a shine to our honey. He must have built a name for himself as a trader outside of Crossbell. How could he not have? Okay, just flattering you. Like she was the first person to mention it. You're looking for Elkin, he's... Oh no. Was it not you? But who was the person... Checked in the inn. So it could only be here then. Unless we have to go off somewhere else and find the people in Crossbell now. Rhino's becoming cheerful fella. You didn't have anything to say. Alright. Excuse me, I have a few questions for you. Lloyd asked about the foreigner who's been visiting America Village recently. Him? Well, I've had to describe him. I might say considerate. Considerate? Can you elaborate? Once he was passing by the children as they were playing, and they accidentally got his clothes dirty. Rather than get angry, he paid it no mind and even gave them some candy. Didn't know whether to thank him or compliment how thoughtful he was. I was speechless. Interesting. Well, thanks for your time. I would say the foreigner who's been coming to our village is a good man. He's even kind to our children. Okay. Okay, we've spoken to a few villagers and have more info to go off of now. This man is named Minnith and he's believed to be a foreign trader. He's supposedly a kind man as well. The type that's patient and caring with kids. On the other hand, I don't know why he's here in the first place, and that in and of itself is suspicious. That's a good point. Yes, we never did learn of a motive in any of those conversations. And the biggest thing that stands out is him talking with the village chief's son in secret. That doesn't pass the smell test. I'm inclined to agree. It's ingredient with everything else we've heard. I think we should follow up on that. Wait, look over by the entrance. It's Elkin. The one who went with Derek into the city. Must have just gotten back. Let's go speak with him. Shiny new van. Or lorry. Excuse me, Elkin, right? I've got a couple of things I'd like to ask you. Oh, what can I do for you? Perhaps you came to ask me about my shiny new orbital truck? No, sorry to disappoint. Oh, really? But it's the Verne Company's latest model, and I got it cheap from Minnith. Is that true? I mean, if you mean the foreigner who's been visiting the village recently, correct? Just how cheap are we talking here? Get this? I got it for the low price of just 50,000 mira. Only 50,000 mira! What I wouldn't give to get that lucky just once. Does the goddess have it in for me? Easy Noel, I can see you turning as green as your hat. Sorry. Moving past Noel's Mechanophilia. Is that a real term? The average market value of a new truck should be nearly 500,000 mira. The amount you paid is exorbitantly low. That'd be a 90% discount. Sounds more like charity than a bargain. You said the discontinued price was so we could afford it and make our work easier. Me and Derek have been working out a plan of something. Guess it's going well. That Minnith, I tell you. My hat's off to him. Plan? Shoot, Derek said I'm not supposed to talk about it. Pretend you didn't hear that. Anyway, this Minnith guy's the real deal. So you say. Wait a minute. Did you come back alone, Elkin? Chief Torta said you and Derek went to the city together to deliver produce. We did, but Derek told me he'd catch a bus back to the village later. He said he had some business to take care of at a hotel in the entertainment district. Millennium. Guess it's another meeting with Minnith. Lloyd, this could be our chance to speak with Minnith face to face. We should go check for ourselves. Thank you for speaking with us, Elkin. This was helpful. No problem. Not that I get what you're after, but good luck. If you're looking for Derek, he's meeting with Minnith in Crossbell City. They should be at the hotel in the entertainment district. Now then, since I've got a brand spanking new truck, I've got to do my darndest to keep it nice. Derek ought to be meeting with Mr. Minnith at the hotel in the city's entertainment district right now. Let's go then. Right, so somewhere in Millennium. Ooh. Don't want to speak to people I don't need to, because we'll do that as part of the rounds. I imagine it's one of the bigger meeting rooms. Well, one of the bigger rooms, at least. Ah. Alright, see you tomorrow. Good speaking with you as always. Huh? Wait. Aren't you... Pardon us? You're Derek from America Village, right? That'd be me. Is there something I can help you with? Crossbell Police, Special Sports Section. I have a few questions we'd like to ask. Okay then. Let me guess, my father sent you here, didn't he? He even called the police. That's just rich. He had reason for doing so. I already know his game. He's snooping around to find out what I'm up to, right? Well, I have nothing to hide. Ask me whatever you want. Wasn't expecting that. I'll get straight to the point then. We were told you've been having secret meetings with a man named Minnith very often recently. Could you enlighten us as to why? What of it? It's not as though my father can do anything about it. Minnith is someone who's helping me with something. We are trying to improve the village. Improve the village? Why would you keep something so important from your father? Well intentioned or not, doesn't it concern him just as much as it does you? I tried talking to my father about improving the village countless times. He just kept telling me about how I've lost sight of our ideals and how making sudden changes won't solve anything. If things continue the way they are, a rural village like ours has no future. This kind of reform is necessary for a sustainable future. My father doesn't understand that one bit. So I've been working with this Minnith character to that end. Like my father, he actually listens to my ideas. Helped me discover a huge opportunity for our apiary. I plan to start a big business with him in the near future. You what? You hear yourself right now. Mind your own business, that's all I have to say to you. You got what you came here for, right? You need to go back to the village now. That was rather curt. Yeah, he totally blew us off. Hey, you guys thinking what I'm thinking? Why don't we head inside to see this Minnith guy for ourselves? Not a bad idea. Might get a better idea what he's all about. Want to show ourselves in right now? There goes nothing. What? Who is it? I didn't order any room service. We're looking for a Minnith? I apologize for bothering you, but with the Crossbell Police, a special support section. We have a couple of questions for you. Oh dear, you're police officers? Did you not say sooner? Come in, the door is unlocked. You hear his tone change when we said we were the police. Yeah, his guard is up. Okay, we're coming in. Now. Pleased to make your acquaintance. I'm Minnith. What brings you here today? Like I said, we simply have a few questions we'd like for you to answer. Would that be alright with you? Of course. I'd be happy to help in any way I can, officer. There's some kind of trouble in the area. No, that's not it. It pertains to you specifically. I want to know more about you and what brought you to America Village. Could you start by telling us more about yourself? Well, this is a surprise. Seeing as you're police officers, I suppose... Why'd the music go? Suppose I have no reason to not cooperate, though. As I said, my name's Minnith, and I'm a corporate executive. I focus on product and business development. Visiting America Village for an important business opportunity on behalf of the Quincy Company. Did you say Quincy Company? Not ringing any bells personally. You heard of it? Of a Mademoiselle? It's always going to make me stumble. The Quincy Company is a famous international confectioner. They're one of the largest companies in their industry. You can buy their products in Crossbell too. It does sound familiar. I think I used to buy their chocolate as a kid. Excuse me for not having a sweet tooth. It's quite alright, young man. I may work for the company, but I've never been one for sweets either. Not my current position thanks to my reputation as a salesman. Oh, my apologies, I didn't mean to get us off track. It's fine, we're partly to blame. It's about that deal with American Village you mentioned. Does it have anything to do with the village chief's son, Derek? Derek told us it has something to do with the future of the village. Did he now? Okay, so I suppose there's no sense in keeping it a secret. Derek and I have built a strong working relationship recently. Much is Derek's story. Could you elaborate? But of course. The Quincy Company is constantly seeking opportunities to grow our confectionery business. Head office tasked me with a project in that regard. That's to establish a foothold for us to expand our business into Crossbell. In other words, you plan to establish a subsidiary of the Quincy Company in Crossbell. Exactly. I began my search by visiting the department store in the city. That's when I found it. Luxurious, high-quality honey produced in America Village. Honey is made using the lotus flower fields in the village. Mr. Heiyue always praises it for how high quality it is. That's right. The honey has been produced using the bountiful lotus fields, which have been passed down for generations. Upon seeing it, it was like the goddess herself had shown me the way. I developed a plan for a brand new confectionery venture. I call it the American Honey Company. The American Honey Company? I won't deny it's pretty catchy. Is it? We'll be selling candies made primarily from America Village's delectable honey. In order to do so, we'll need the full cooperation of the villagers. That's why I approached the next chief, Derek, with this proposal. He asked if he'd like to manage the construction of the factory, as well as the new business. Would that make Derek the manager of the Quincy Company subsidiary? Naturally, my company would use our expertise and marketing to its full extent. Fields would also be overseen by our staff. Don't want to cause trouble for the villagers, after all. On the contrary, we'd like to make their lives easier. Where do you intend on building a factory, though? We're in the middle of discussing, but I was eyeing their private property on Old America Road. It's currently only used for storage, so I can't imagine this will be disagreeable. Those conditions, I can see why you're hopeful about this taking off. Especially if you have Derek's backing with the goal of improving life in the village. Everyone comes out a winner, isn't that swell? Exactly. Derek's talent and strong sense of responsibility made me want to work with him. What's the catch? That's all I can tell you for now. Does that answer your question? It does, thanks for your cooperation. You have a much better grasp of what's been happening in the village lately. Is there anything you would like to discuss further? No, not right now. Sorry to take up your time. You'll be going now. No problem at all, officers. Come again anytime. Please, take care. I was expecting a Columbo move from Lloyd there, being like, oh, and one more thing, Mr. Minnith. Where do we even begin? It's quite a plan he's put together. Minnith's plan with Derek is even more ambitious than I had expected. The plan of his seems like a ton of work, but it could pay off big time. Like, damn, could you imagine? Anyway, I think we've got all the answers that we're looking for. Yeah, let's head back to America Village. We need to report our findings to Chief Tolter. Can't believe this. Minnith is with the Quincy Company? And that whole American Honey Company business too. I never expected they were planning something so grand. It involves the village's private property, no less. I didn't peg Derek as the type to do something like this. Has Derek returned to the village yet? That's right, he didn't return to the village with Elkin earlier. He did say he'd be returning when we ran into him at the hotel, though. I wouldn't know. Derek doesn't come home very often these days. He started renting a room at the Ash Tree, to tell you the truth. Minnith has been staying there as well. Maybe that's why Derek is staying there in the first place. He's been scheming something like this right under my nose all along. I'm ashamed of myself for not noticing. Wouldn't be so sure. Hard to be surprised if moving into the Ash Tree was Minnith's idea. He may have been trying to prevent you from catching wind of what's going on. Well, what do you mean? I'll let our dashing leader here handle the details. Ignoring the first part, I'll do my best to explain. Is there something more to this than we realized, Lloyd? Keep in mind, I'm only speculating, but I do have my suspicions about this Minnith character. This is what I expected with one more thing. What do you mean? The plan he laid out for us benefited everyone involved. America gains a new industry, while the Quincy Company gets a new subsidiary in a market they want to expand in. At a glance, that seems all well and good. It was too good to be true, wouldn't you say? Yeah. What's the catch? Now that you mention it, it does remind me of Minnith selling Elking a new orbital truck at a ridiculously low price. In this context, it now seems like an investment. An orbital truck isn't something you basically give to someone at random. Not at how much they cost. Never heard of one selling for only 50,000 mira until now. What you two are getting at, that he knows he's going to make that mirror back, doesn't he? It's very strange. A company as large as Quincy wouldn't normally sink this much mirror into an unproven startup. They wouldn't, would they? I don't like the way this is headed. Which leads me to believe that Minnith has an ulterior motive, one that is guaranteed to make him a profit. It's all conjecture, however. I simply want you to keep what we're saying in mind. I will. Be very careful about what might happen next. And kudos on the fine investigative work, SSS. I feel like I finally understand what's happening here. Thank you for the help. Happy to, Chief Tolter. You say you can handle it from here? Could continue investigating if you'd like. That's alright, you've done more than enough for now. As soon as I heard about the plan to build the factory on our property, I knew I couldn't support such a thing. I'll speak to Derek as the chief of the village and try to persuade him to abandon this plan of his. Perhaps that would be for the best. At least someone gets a truck out of it. We'll be excusing ourselves then. You can follow up with us if you need anything else in this matter. Of course, if the need arises, I will be sure to call on you again. Cool. Fantastic work, SSS. Thanks to your efforts, I have a much clearer picture of what's been happening. I'll have to speak with Derek later so I can get through to him. I don't know what this Minnith character is planning. Chief Tolter and I will continue to exercise caution in this matter. Thank you for looking into this for us. Depending on how this plays out, we may need your help again. Let's check in. Is he back over here? No, I imagine he's inside there, because he said he was heading back to the village, so... There he is. Oh, it's you again. Derek, I think you should speak with your father again. I've wasted enough words on that man already. The village chief is standing in the way of progress. He would never stand for any change, even if it helps the village. I'd all but given up until Minnith showed up and gave me the opportunity I'd been looking for. Father can't be trusted with the future of the village. Minnith and I will propel America into the future. Still can't shake the feeling there's something suspicious about Minnith. I wish you could see that. Yes, but I doubt we get anywhere with him without undeniable evidence. We're giving up on reforming the village, is until Minnith appeared and gave me the opportunity I'd been looking for. To the future. Right, so I'm thinking this is a good place to actually end this part. And next part, where shall we go? I think it's basically we head back to Crossbell at this point. Like, yeah, we've done the other locations, haven't we? All seems good to me, so yeah, that's where we'll be heading in the next part. Ta-ta for now.